shadows of our society, there exist places that have become synonymous with fear, neglect, and despair. These are the asylums, once hailed as sanctuaries for the mentally ill. They have transformed into haunting relics of a darker past. Today, we delve into the eerie history of these institutions, exploring the chilling events that unfolded within their walls. Imagine stepping through the creaking doors of an old asylum. The air is thick with an unsettling stillness. Yet, beneath the surface lies a history riddled with torment and tragedy. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, asylums were often seen as a solution to society's problems, where the mentally ill could be contained, treated, or, in some cases, forgotten. But what transpired behind those imposing walls was far from humane. The word asylum itself once carried a sense of refuge, a place of safety. However, the reality was starkly different. Many institutions were overcrowded, underfunded, and understaffed. Patients suffered not only from their ailments, but also from the brutal conditions imposed upon them. The care they received was often more about control than compassion. Stripped of their dignity, countless individuals were subjected to inhumane treatments, often labeled as patients rather than human beings. One of the most notorious examples is the Willowbrook State School in New York. Originally established in the 1940s to care for children with intellectual disabilities, it quickly became a nightmare. Overcrowding was rampant, and patients lived in squalor. Reports surfaced of abuse and neglect, with children left to languish in filth. The facility became a symbol of the failures of the mental health system, drawing public outrage when investigative journalists exposed the horrific conditions. As we take a closer look, we uncover the grim treatments that were once considered standard practice within these walls. The infamous practice of lobotomy emerged during this era, a procedure that aimed to cure mental illness by severing connections in the brain. This surgical intervention was often performed with little regard for the patient's well-being. Thousands underwent this procedure, many emerging not as the same person, but as mere shadows of their former selves. The promise of a cure turned into a haunting reminder of the brutality that often accompanied the search for understanding. Electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT, was another commonly used treatment. While it has evolved over time and can be effective when administered properly today, back then, it was often misused. Patients were subjected to high voltages without proper anesthesia, leaving them disoriented and traumatized. The chilling reality of such treatments served only to deepen the stigma surrounding mental illness, reinforcing the notion that those who suffered from these conditions were to be feared and isolated. The dark history of asylums is not solely marked by the treatment of patients, but also by the way society viewed mental illness itself. In many cases, individuals were committed for reasons that had nothing to do with mental health. Women, particularly, found themselves institutionalized for behaviors deemed unacceptable: rebelliousness, promiscuity, or even simple sadness could land a woman in a straitjacket. asylum became a tool of social control, where the boundaries of normalcy were strictly enforced. As we journey deeper into this unsettling narrative, we encounter the infamous Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. Opened in 1864, it was originally designed to house 250 patients. However, by the early 1950s, nearly 2,400 individuals were crammed into its halls. The asylum became a breeding ground for horror, with reports of physical and psychological abuse surfacing over the years. This institution became a dark emblem of what could happen when the needs of the vulnerable were ignored. The asylum's architecture mirrored the chaos within. With its sprawling grounds and imposing structure, it evoked a sense of dread. Patients wandered the halls, trapped in a system that had failed them. Many lost their lives within these walls, their stories fading into obscurity. As the years passed, the public began to turn a blind eye to the injustices occurring inside. The asylums were not just places of confinement. They were graveyards for the lost and forgotten. As we reflect on this history, it's essential to remember the individuals behind the labels. Each patient had a story, a family, hopes, dreams, and fears. Yet, within the asylum, their identities were stripped away. The very notion of being committed meant losing oneself in a sea of despair. The legacy of these institutions is not merely one of neglect, but also of erasure. The mid-20th century brought about a shift in societal attitudes toward mental health. The rise of community-based treatment and the eventual closure of many asylums marked a turning point. Yet, the scars left by these institutions lingered. The trauma endured by countless individuals left a profound impact on families and communities. The stigma surrounding mental illness persisted, echoing the treatment of those confined to the asylums. Today, many of these former asylums lie abandoned, their decaying walls standing as haunting reminders of the past. They draw urban explorers and ghost hunters, eager to uncover the secrets that remain locked within. The stories of those who suffered continue to resonate, forcing us to confront the dark legacy of these institutions. As we explore these abandoned sites, we feel the weight of history pressing down. Each echoing footstep seems to awaken the spirits of those who once wandered the hallways, trapped in a limbo of suffering. The chilling atmosphere is thick with the unvoiced cries of the past, begging to be heard. In recent years, there has been a resurgence of interest in the history of mental health treatment. Documentaries, books, and podcasts have emerged, delving into the stories of those who lived through these harrowing experiences. We are reminded that the past is not merely a collection of dates and events, but a tapestry of human lives. Each thread weaves a narrative that deserves to be acknowledged. As we draw closer to the present, we must recognize that the legacy of the asylum is not confined to history. The lingering effects of stigma and misunderstanding continue to shape perceptions of mental health today. While we have made strides toward compassion and understanding, the shadows of the past still loom large. The story of the asylum is a cautionary tale, a reminder of the depths of human suffering and the need for empathy. As we navigate our own understanding of mental health, let us not forget the lessons learned from those who came before us. The echoes of their pain should guide us toward a future where understanding prevails over fear. In closing, the dark history of the asylum is not merely a relic of the past. It is a haunting reminder of our collective responsibility to care for one another. As we reflect on this chilling narrative, let us strive to create a world where compassion triumphs over neglect, where every individual is valued, and where the darkness of the asylum is replaced by the light of understanding. As we step away from this story, we are left with a lingering sense of unease. The shadows of the asylum remain, whispering tales of sorrow and loss. In the silence that follows, we must ponder how we can ensure that such darkness never returns. The past may be behind us, but its echoes continue to shape our present and future. Let us listen closely, for the voices of the forgotten still call out from the depths of history.